Well, it looks like we've got somebody here. As usual, I've failed to notify my mods, but I had to do this as soon as I had the opportunity. As you can see, I've got a little few sunburn spots on my face. I've been out in the sun. We're doing some construction work, and so I've got my portable studio here with me, and um, thought I needed to say a few things while we've been working. Hello, everyone, as you come in. I did listen to the AJ show today. Dr. Stock that was on there is absolutely spot on. He said a lot of great things. I suggest that you go see that interview. If you didn't, it's about an hour, 50 minutes long to an hour. Very good information. You should spread it around. It's one thing Alex does when he gets a good guest, it's a good one. And this one is. He's the same one that gave his little speech to a school board in Illinois or Indiana, one of the two. Indiana, I believe. Okay, well, this particular video is to also comment on something else that happened on the AJ show today. And what he said was that he got angry for just a short time towards the end of a segment, and said Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, I think he named another senator, and then he included former President Trump, and got angry at them and said, uh, "You all are either totally ignorant or you're the enemy." Something to that effect. And I thought, wow, well, okay, here we are. We're starting to call these guys out again that are supposed to be on our side but are saying nothing. So, what I want to say is this, okay? I was a somewhat lackluster officer in the military, but I learned a lot, okay? I rubbed shoulders with a lot of big people. I went to a lot of places. I saw a lot of things. And all I have to say to this, and I'm again, AJ, you got to come out stronger, but that was getting pretty close today. But then I noticed after the break you came back and you caveated again, saying that you think Trump's a good guy. Well, you're wrong about that, but this is what I want to say to everybody, and this is directed at Trump, Cruz, Rand Paul, all of those who say they're for us, and they've been doing a little bit, like Rand Paul grilling Fauci there in the Senate hearing. It's still not enough. And AJ made the point that there is this entire global takeover requiring everybody to be constantly surveilled and to ask permission to exercise no longer their rights, but the privileges that the governments offer to them. Now, our rights are God given, and our governments are supposed to be protecting us in those rights, but they're not. They've sold off to a what has been called this New World Order corporate entity. And in my opinion, it's being run by a very evil uh, intelligence. And it's all been tied into the AI, which they've talked about for a long time. Hello, Ms. Cat. Thank you for being here. What I will say is this Alex said to them, to Trump, and to um, Rand Paul, and to Cruz, and several others, he said, after he came back off the break, he says, "Well, I guess what's really the problem is you're just scared. You're scared, and I know you're scared, and that's why you're not talking out." Look, ladies and gentlemen, that's the same thing as desertion. And I did a video on desertion a few videos back. And if because of fear they're not speaking out to warn the people, they are as guilty as those who are attacking us, both in this whole thing with the New World Order and the entire surveillance control feudal state, no longer protecting our rights, but only granting us privileges if we are obedient. And of course, they're not speaking out on the GMI and its dangers, which is an assault on us, on the entire world, especially our children. And then, of course, that, like I said this morning, this thing Was it this morning or last night? Yesterday, I guess, about this thing with drafting women. That's one of my red lines in the sand. That's one of them right there. That's one of my red lines in the sand. Okay? When you come after the kids and when you come after the women, that's a red line in the sand for me. But getting back to this point here on this particular video, if you are a leader, you better damn sight know who the enemy is. Because if you don't know, then you are the enemy. There's no in between. So, this little tirade, and it should have been directed at Trump and at Rand Paul and at Cruz and others, that AJ did today, that was good. But he didn't go far enough again, so I'm going to take it that distance, and I just said it. If you're a leader and you can't figure out who the enemy is, you're either totally incompetent or you're complicit. And I go with the second with these guys, that they're complicit. So they are the enemy. And they're going to have to prove to us that they aren't by coming out and speaking in no uncertain terms. I don't care if they're putting their families in danger. They're putting your family in danger for their silence. Silence is agreement. Therefore, they are the enemy unless they do something about it. So AJ won't take it that next distance, but I am right here. Ignorance is no excuse for these people. None of these people. So it has to be complicity, which means they are the enemy. They are limited hangouts, leading us down the other path because, well, they're too afraid to speak out. Then they deserted us, and they are, in fact, the enemy. Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Trump, and all the rest of you, that's where this is right now. You're the enemy unless you speak up and call us out for what it is. Oh, but they'll come after my family. Oh, they may poison me or you know, they may shoot me. They may assassinate me from a distance. You signed up for this. And while it's important to know when to strike, be silent until the time to strike. The time, gentlemen, is way past. You have people dying right now because of your silence. And in your situation, Trump, for pushing deadly things upon us. You must want to go along with the elites. You must want to destroy the Earth's population. You must want to destroy the country that you hug its flag and pretend to love as a photo op. Jesus said something about that. Their lips come near unto me, but their hearts are far from me. And you, Trump, and you, Rand Paul, and you, Ted Cruz, are perfect examples of that. With all the enemies that are coming after us, your silence means that you are the enemy because you're complicit simply by your either not knowing who the enemy is, which I don't believe, or you're complicit in it, or you are afraid. But I just defined what that fear is. That fear is a desertion. And in a regular battlefield, you would have been taken care of. And I don't mean in a good way. That's my message. In about 10 minutes on Headlines with a Voice on YouTube, Bettina Ursula Brancato, who you would know as Nancy Morgan Hart of Headlines with a Voice, that channel. Hi, Jesse. How you doing? Felicia Lockhart of the Lockhart Perspective, who has taken over those reports in honor of Bettina, is going to have a special program here in about 20 minutes, I think. I think it's coming on here at 3 o'clock Central Time. I'd encourage you to go and, along with that little thing that I did this morning honoring Bettina's birthday, I don't want us to forget her. what she accomplished was much more than most people realize. So if you have it in your heart, if you're interested, I think you're going to be seeing some things from a couple of her kids. Um, and that's, I think, worthwhile to honor her. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, we're not supposed to celebrate birthdays." You know what? I'm sorry. You know, that's just a little too far. Okay, I know it's not following the festivals and all of that that so many of these dyed-in-the-wool, rigid religionists, consider. But frankly, I like letting people know on their birthday that I was happy, that I am happy they're here, or in this case, that I'm happy that they were here. And in fact, she is still here, not just in memory, but because she is watching what's happening here now. She can see the fruits of her labor, and I'm certain that she has received her crown for her labor as well. So please go to the Headlines with a Voice and go listen to the message that's going on there. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Again, you either know who the enemy is: Trump, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Ron Johnson, on down the list. You either know who the enemy is, or you're not fit to be a leader, and or you are the enemy. Out here for now, ladies and gentlemen. Take care.